All right. Good evening, friends. Are we all present and accounted for? Ready to get this delightful meeting started? You can say yes. Well, all right. Okay, we will call this meeting to order at exactly 6 p.m. Get a roll call?
Mayor Doby,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nafolda,
Here.
Councilmember Hasselbrink,
Here.
Councilmember Hibbert,
Here.
Councilmember Murphy.
Here.
All right, if all of y'all would stand with me and put your right hand over your heart, we will have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Murphy, followed by the invocation by yours truly. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Lord, I thank you for the opportunity to come and do the business of the city. It really is an honor and a privilege to be part of a decision-making body that can pleasantly affect the lives of so many amazing residents. I ask you for divine wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and favor. I pray for our first responders and our military. I pray for our businesses and our commerce. I just thank you that we would flourish, that we would thrive, that we would be the Los Alamitos that no one ever even imagined. And I thank you in advance for all of the marvelous things that will not only come out of this meeting, but out of every meeting going forth. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, and we got some presentations. All right. So,
Yes, Madam Mayor, I believe that we're actually pulling presentation A,
Yes.
and we will bring it back at a later date.
okay. So we will go to B, and if council could join me front and center after a sip of Diet Coke, of course. Just give it a moment. Let me get into him. Okay. All right. So Representative, wait, is everybody up here? Okay. Lost one. I got her back though. Okay, so representatives from our 70th district were not able to attend, but that will not stop our party, okay? We are going to be presenting certificates to Ms. Wendy Gross, Ms. Teresa Murphy, and Ms. Tricia Murphy in recognition of being named the 70th Assembly District Women of Distinction. So if I could get Ms. Wendy Gross to come on down. So I'm gonna read a little bit about you, okay? So you just stand there and smile for me. Wendy Gross supported herself as a hairstylist while reaching for her dream of becoming a registered nurse. She has earned her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, registered nurse degree, master's degree as a family nurse practitioner, and doctorate in nursing practice. She has served on many local nonprofits, including Precious Life Shelter, the Rossmore Los Alamitos Republican Federated Women's Club, Casa Youth Shelter, We Care, Grateful Hearts, Los Alamitos Museum, Modern Science Press, Los Alamitos Education Foundation, Los Alamitos Police Officers Association, Los Alamitos Griffins Football Foundation, Cypress College Foundation, St. Isidore's Historica Plaza, and the Chamber of Commerce for Cypress. Oh, and the Rotary Club. Wendy developed a Christmas program for the deaf and hearing impaired children at the Taft Elementary School and played the role of Mrs. Claus for the American Legion Toys for Tots breakfast. She believes the greatest gift in life is the ability to help others. She believes in paying it forward. Congratulations, Wendy. So we will take pictures after I give you. Is there anything that you would like to say?
No, just thank you.
All right. Well, now we let Emily take it. I do would like her to come. You can stand right in front. You can sit down now. I might call your name again, though. Next up, we have Teresa Murphy. Come on down. I'm gonna read your bio too. Teresa Murphy began working at the Precious Life Shelter as volunteer coordinator in 1989 and now serves as the executive director. Precious Life Shelter provides a safe environment for the pregnant women with no place to live. When not running the nonprofit, Teresa stays active in the community. Her service includes involvement with the Cypress Chamber of Commerce, the Los Alamitos Chamber of Commerce Board, the Orange County Homeless Issues Task Force, the Shelter Providers Forum, and the Partnership for Responsible Public Policy, the West Coast Maternity Home Association, the Perinatal Substance Abuse Network, and Crisis Pregnancy Network of the, how do you say that? Diocese. I am not ashamed to admit I don't know how to pronounce a word, of Orange. Locally, she has served the Rotary Club, is a founding member of the Los Alamitos High School Grad Night Committee, and was instrumental in forming the Partnership for Solutions in Los Alamitos. Ms. Murphy's contributions throughout the community are well known, and she has received many well-deserved recognitions throughout the years. Congratulations, Ms. Teresa.
Thank you.
Do you have any words that you would like to share?
Just that I
No,
think
you take the mic.
just that I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to work in a community where you get great support. And this city has been very supportive of the shelter, and we are blessed to be here.
Thank you. All right. Next up, one of our very own, Miss Tricia Murphy. Tricia is one of our newly appointed council members who took office October 2022. Tricia recently retired from asset management and launched a small business called Fickle Bliss, LLC, which specializes in college admission essay writing services. Before becoming a council member, Tricia was appointed as a member of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Commission in 2018. She was a member of the School Site Council at Hopkinton Elementary and Oak Middle School, and a representative of the Los Alamitos Unified School District Human Resource Relation Task Force. Whew. She contributed to the establishment of the safety and student services for Los Alamitos Unified. Tricia is a certified bartender, a notary public, a notary line signing agent, a UGM cardio fitness instructor, and was previously an AYSO referee. Tricia believes that Los Alamitos is a thriving city full of amazing people that contribute to making the community truly extraordinary. Congratulations, Tricia. Do you have some words?
Yes, I do. I just want to say thank you for the honor, and I appreciate just living in the city. My husband, he is definitely a Polly, if anybody knows, a Polly rabbit. So I'm always letting him know that the Griffins will come and get Polly anytime. So I just want to say thank you so much for this honor, and I appreciate just living here. So thank you.
I approve that message. Okay, and if I could have all of our honorees please come back up. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Thank you. See, I'm trying to get away from the pictures. Okay, now everybody come back up. Tricia, where you going? Stop it, come back. Miss Teresa, Miss Wendy, come on down. We're gonna take a beautiful group photo. And then I'll let you go for real. You stay. Okay. Oh. All right. Thank you. You still stay. You know what, it's fine. Okay. Now, Miss Wendy, I'm going to present these to you because there was another award that you also received. We can't do it this month. We'll do it another month. We'll let y'all know. You can all come back and we'll do it again. But all of the wonderful things that I hear about you, there was a litany of organizations that you have given time, effort, and energy to. That is applaudable. That is amazing. thank you for being a substantial member of the community that we have here in Los Alamitos. You honor us with your service, so we honor you with our thanks. All right, next up, we have a presentation of certificates to the Los Alamitos High School students in recognition of their participation in 2023's Every 15 Minutes program. Chris Forehand, come on down.
I had to write mine because I don't speak as eloquently.
Oh, you start that, don't you start that, don't you start that. Okay, so I have a little spiel, but my personal preference is to allow those that actually have a integral part in the event to do the speaking. Is that all right with y'all? Cool, because I was gonna do it anyway. There you go.
I don't think I need this, but I'm Chris Forehand. I wear two hats in the immediate area. I'm the president of the Los Alamitos School Board, and I'm also on the board of directors for the Youth Center, and I was honored to be asked to come tonight and thank you for recognizing our Los Alamitos students who, under the awesome direction of their teacher, Connor Brown, made every 15 minutes come alive. And that's a very serious video that they put together, and it is just, I mean, you watch it and it's very realistic for the hazards of drinking and driving. As well, Lena and Dr. Pulver would want me to thank the city of Los Al for all you do for the youth of our community. So thank you. And I think Connor would like, do you want to speak now or do you want Connor?
So I'm not gonna speak.
Okay.
You can invite Connor.
Connor wants to say a few words.
Hand out the certificates, 'cause they're, I call them your babies, but they're your big kids. So you'll call them when it's time to give them their certificates. Okay? Is that cool?
That'd be great, thank you. Hello, my name is Connor Brown. I'm the film teacher here at Los Alamitos High School, and we got the opportunity to work on the Every 15 Minutes campaign with help from the city and the youth center and so many other organizations. I have some students here today. Raise your hands, students. Come on, show some. Whoop, there you go. These students worked incredibly hard on this project. They really put in just a ton of effort, and they wanted to make it good. They wanted to make it great. They wanted to make it the best it's ever been. And I'm just incredibly proud of them, and I am grateful for you guys for showing some of that love and showing some of that gratitude to them as well, because they spent so much time and effort putting this together and wanting to make it great for this community, and to see the community embrace us and give thanks and gratitude is just a great thing. So thank you guys very much for what you do.
He's gonna call the names for his. There's a certificate for Mr. Connor Brown as well. We appreciate all of those involved.
Thank you very much.
Now call your friends.
We have a couple students who are not here, actually a good amount, because we're actually working on the next project. So we have a couple kids who are currently editing at the school, and we'll be joining them in a second as soon as we get done with this presentation. So I'll call the ones who are here. If I can. Okay, I think I got it. The first one is for Jack Nelson Kuto. There's a lot of kids who work on that. The next one who's here today that I'd like to present to is Zachary Slater Odom.
Yeah, keep it going.
The next I'd like to present to is Alex Russell. The next I'd like to present to is Danielle Townsend. The next I'd like to present to is Ryan Witten. Next up, Sydney Lobo. And last but certainly not least, he was the one that actually put the whole dang thing together to end it, is Cole Miller. And about 20 others who couldn't be here today, but their work is also very much appreciated. So thank you guys for all these awards. I will hand them out tomorrow in class.
All right. How are you? I know you got to wait.
So there's two options. Either council can go up on the step behind and they can come forward and you can alternate, or you can take a knee below. Take a knee. And as long as everyone can see this lens, I can see you. Sure.
Friend, you're fine. I promise you. Okay. Thank you.
I told them they could go back now.
We've got to get
I
back to
thought they
work.
were setting for tests, but no, they're ahead of me.
Writing our next project. Come see the Los Alamos
Thank you
Film
very
Center.
much.
Absolute pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Forehand. You're welcome back anytime. All right. Next, we have a presentation of a certificate to Mr. Peter, owner of Angelino's Pizza, in recognition of being featured in the Mayor's Business Spotlight. Let's see. Business Spotlight program is a free business recognition program designed to create awareness about the variety of local businesses located in the absolutely amazing city of Los Alamitos. This Business Spotlight program is a great way for the city to say thank you, to showcase great businesses in Los Al, and also provide another tool to help our businesses grow. We are huge advocates of growing our businesses, big or small. This month's recognized business is Angelina's Pizza. Angelina's is located at 3638 Catella Avenue. Can I get Angelina's to come on down? Yeah, you come on over. I'm gonna read a little bit about you, and then I'm gonna hand you the mic if you have something that you would like to share. And then we got pictures. That's cool? Okay. Angelina's is a small mom and pop shop that has been family owned and operated since 1983. They take pride in the quality of their pizza rather than the quantity. Using only the finest ingredients and spices, they make their dough and sauce fresh every day on site. They also provide just the right number of toppings so you can taste each unique flavor. They are not sparing on the number of toppings they use, nor do they overload it, because overloading could overpower the balanced taste of their pizza. To Angelina's, it is an exact science. Their pizzas are hand-tossed and made from scratch once orders are placed, keeping their pizzas fresh and hot. So thank you for being a member of our business community, and thank you for making spectacular pizza. Do you have anything that you would like to share with us?
just thank you.
You can't say no and then start talking to you.
Just want to say thank you, and if you guys like award-winning pizza, come on by. 'Cause, we're not just any standard pizzeria, but we're award-winning, so thank you.
Where you at?
We're actually right over there, 3638 Catella Avenue, next to Madera Steakhouse, if you guys know where that's at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right across the street from St. Isidore's Historic Plaza. There's a
Yes.
landmark you can use, no problems. Right.
That's true. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a presentation of a proclamation to the Public Works team in recognition of National Public Works Week. Development Services Director Ron Noda, come on down. And then if we have some Public Works crews, I think I see some uniform shirts, y'all can come on down as well, please. There you go, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, good evening. So the next week, the week of the 22nd, I believe, is Public Works Appreciation Week throughout the state of California. And so tonight, the City Council wanted to thank our Public Works Division. So the Public Works Division is the face of maintaining the face and the strength and the elbow grease of maintaining the city. They, you know, when you need a pothole repaired, if you have a tree trimmed, you know, they fix, you know, stuff around the city. Here in City Hall, they make sure that, you know, the concretes are leveled. Again, they're out there at the park inspecting the playground structure. So they're the division that handles the maintenance out in the city. And so they provide safety. They provide a quality of life for all the residents and visitors of the city. They also, the division oversees a lot of the contracts. So we have a street sweeping contract, our trash contract, our janitorial contract, our landscaping contract. So they oversee those contracts as well. So again, these hardworking men and women are the brute strength and then the mind to maintain the city at the highest standard possible. So I want to introduce them real quick. This is not the entire crew, but we're going to start off with the interim Public Works manager, Lori Hepp, right? We have next to her the Public Works supervisor, Renee Carmody. Just promoted, senior maintenance, Miguel De La Torre. And our nighttime guy, maintenance worker, Jose Mendoza. Okay, so again, thank you for your service, thank you for your hard work, and we appreciate everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. The potholes that get filled, I thank you. All right, now come close, fix your time plans. Oh, God, am I? Here, let's get it. Who wants to hold it? You hold it, we're gonna take a picture. Hold it. There you go. All right. Mr. Mendoza? Yes. Fantastic. Come on down front and center. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yo. So go from F to H. Sweet. Next, we have a presentation of a plaque to Wayne Byerly for his 3 years of service as police captain to the city of Los Alamitos. Can I get Chief Claiborne to come on down? And then, Captain, you come and you meet him. And then I think we'll be good, yeah? There we go.
Thank you very much. Captain South, can you come up and join me as well? So we have a rare opportunity here where we have a command staff member here with the Los Alamitos Police Department who has the very distinct opportunity of joining the smallest fraternity in the law enforcement world, which would be a chief of police. The saying goes that we don't have any colleagues within the organization because there is just one chief, and he has been blessed with the opportunity to move on and become the chief of police for the city of Signal Hill. So Captain Byerly, who started his career with the Orange County Sheriff's Department and worked for how many years? 32 years, Orange County Sheriff's Department, where he brought all of the knowledge and experience that he received with a large organization, and he's able to bring that to the city of Los Alamitos. and I hope I'm not stealing his thunder when I say this, but I believe he mentioned to me recently that you talk about coming full circle. He took a ride-along with the city of Los Alamitos before he got hired by the Orange County Sheriff's Department some 32 years ago. And so now we have this opportunity for him to move on, and we are so thankful. Being a small organization like we are, the command staff has to work very closely together, and he single-handedly handled all the rebranding of the organization, which occurred before I got here, and he has been nothing but helpful in every possible way since I've been here, and he is an integral part of the success of this organization, and I am extremely thankful for him. Ironically, Captain South, who was newly appointed, had the experience of working with Captain Byerly when they were at the Sheriff's Department together, so I'm going to give him an opportunity to say a few words as well.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, and I had the opportunity to work with him or around him or for him the majority of my career. And you're hard-pressed to find somebody that's more competent, has more integrity, and is more reliable than Wayne Byerly. So I heard all about how wonderful Los Alamitos was from Wayne, right? He's like, come over, the water's great, I love it here. I've been here 3 weeks, and now he's leaving me, right? So he was not wrong. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. But he's moving on and up, as the chief said. He's going to be chief of police for Signal Hill, and they're blessed to have him. So sorry to miss you and have you move on, but happy for Signal Hill.
And so one last thing. So we have a plaque here to present to him for his honorable service to Captain Wayne Byerly in recognition and appreciation of your dedicated service to the Los Alamitos community and the Los Alamitos Police Department from February of 2020 to May of 2023. So please join me in giving him a round of applause.
I reserve the right to stop.
All right. All right. Well, first of all, this has been just such a great opportunity and a blessing to join this small team. And it's funny, you mentioned how I went on a ride-along here before I joined the Sheriff's Department, and coming full circle, and then having the opportunity to be the chief at Signal Hill. I actually attended Explorer meetings there back when I was in high school, so it's kind of another circle that's coming to fruition here. But this place has been great, and I've been welcomed with open arms by everybody, and the things that we were able to accomplish through just COVID, Measure Y, just all the challenges. It starts when you have a city council that completely supports the police department and everything we do, so thank you for that. Next, you have to have a really good city manager. And I tell you what, Chet Simmons, fantastic. He's never said no to me every time I wanted to spend money. Well, I'll tell you that. I wanted to buy like some kind of electric patrol vehicle, and he looked at me like, you're crazy. But anyways, and the phenomenal city team, just my pals here, just what a great team. You guys, I always say you guys get things done with duct tape and zip ties, and a lot of hard work, and that is the truth. So it is really good stuff. Other than that, the officers here, everybody is here for the right reasons, to support this community, to make this a safe community, and they do it. They do a great job, and this has just been just the highlight of my life. So thank you very much. And the support from the chief. It's been great being able to. We've been on the same page, and not once have you looked at me and said, "Wayne, what are you doing?" We've been in lockstep, and everyone just is rowing in the same direction. And when you have a team that does that, it's fun to come to work. So, but thank you again.
Take your picture. Yes, please look at this. Okay. Well, we're going to juggle it around a little bit because that's my prerogative. We're going to do the presentation by Rob Thompson, the general manager, providing an overview of the Orange County Sanitation District. So I would like to invite General Manager Thompson to come on down. Oh, okay, we gonna sit down. Yeah, no, please, by all means, by all means.
It's all good.
Thank you. All right, I wanted to let you all get settled because I know you're going to get right into this and you're going to be so enraptured that you need to be ready for whatever happens. So.
I'm ready.
Since we talked about pizza, when everybody finishes with a pizza, that's where we come in. We are here for you. So I want to start by saying a special thank you to not Councilman Nafulda, but Director Nafulda for the great service that he provides as the Director of the Orange County Sanitation District, and to Emily Hibbard, our alternate member of our Board of Directors. So thank you for your service to our fine district. So OC San, we are a regional wastewater agency. We service 2.6 million people in the Orange County area. You can see the map there from Seal Beach up to La Habra, across to Yorba Linda, all the way down to Irvine and the edge of Newport Beach. So we always think of small. I'm an Orange County native. I think of little small Orange County that I grew up in, but it is the 6th largest county in America, and we are the 6th largest wastewater agency in the United States based on the population we serve. So it is a very large endeavor that we're in. We have over $12 billion in assets that we're managing. If you look carefully on the screen, you can see a bunch of lines kind of crisscrossing generally from north to south in the county, collecting all the wastewater across our service area, 388 miles of sewers, into our 2 treatment plants in Fountain Valley and Huntington Beach. There are some dots you see also. Those are our pump stations. Wherever there's a low spot in the drainage, we have to lift the water and let it, again, drain by gravity back to our plants. So about 185 million gallons a day come our way, and we turn that into valuable resources for the people we serve. Our governance is wide. As you can imagine, all those cities have a rep on our board in one fashion or another. There are 20 cities, 2 sanitary agencies, 2 water districts, and a member of the Orange County Board of Supervisors. So as I say, we honor the service of all the electeds that come together. We work really hard to make sure there's a common vision and unity in how we go about the business. We spend a lot of time on our strategic plan every 2 years. There tends to be that turnover in elected officials, either by term limits or changes in appointments. So we try to create a document that the board members can take as their own and understand where we're going. We take that 20-year vision and we turn it into product at the end of the day. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But generally speaking, we collect all the wastewater in that large area we just talked about, and it's from businesses, it's from residents, and it's from industrial sources. A little less on the industrial source side, but more than you might imagine, especially in places like Anaheim. We're collecting that 185 million gallons that is taken from small pipes that come into the streets. That's where the local sewer service agency will gather it and bring it to our larger lines, and that's what's depicted here. So when a line leaves a residence, it may be a 3-inch, maybe a 4-inch pipe. It's going to go into a city street, hit an 8-inch pipe. Once it comes to us, we're talking anywhere from 24 inches to 10 feet in diameter. So some pretty large pipes moving quite a bit of product, shall we say. Takes us to the treatment plant. We actually had to switch our graphic because in the good old days, when we were done treating it, we discharged that water out into the Pacific Ocean. We have 2 outfalls. One goes 5 miles out to sea. The other goes 1 mile out to sea. We use the 5-mile outfall every day. It's, again, a 10-foot diameter pipe. It goes out 5 miles and 200 feet deep. So when we discharged it, that water never came back. But water is too precious to use only once, so we do have the hardest working water in the world because we recycle all of our reclaimable wastewater. So we provide that water to the Orange County Water District. They put it through microfiltration, talk a little bit more about that, reverse osmosis, and then it becomes drinking water. So a huge change. That's the cleanest water that goes into our aquifer from any source, so we're very, very proud of that. Again, a depiction of what a 10-foot sewer pipe would look like. The walls are thicker than most people, I think, imagine also. So it's just an idea of the scale of what we're doing there at OC San. So when we get the water, we do preliminary treatment. We screen it first. It goes through some bar screens. Anything bigger than 5/8 of an inch is trapped. Bowling balls, bicycles, lumber, yes, all those things, as the police force might imagine, can get into a sewer with help and imagination. All those things are taken out. As the water goes through, we then remove grit, which is sand, eggshells, coffee grounds, which you should never put in the sewer, ever, ever. We take those out because they are useless to us. We can't make energy or fertilizer out of them. We then do primary treatment. We add a couple of chemicals to aid in the settling, some iron and some polymers, and then all those solids settle out by gravity in primary treatment. We send them to our digestion complex. We actually convert them to energy and fertilizer. So we make more than 11 megawatts of power every day, and we make more than 500 tons of fertilizer. And it goes to the Central Valley in Arizona for land application to non-food crops, so nothing goes to waste. And then the last thing now is the water. It continues on, it gets some biological treatment, and it's safe to discharge the Pacific Ocean. But again, that's the old way of doing business. We send all of our water that's reclaimable, and I'll talk about that in a second, to the Orange County Water District. Again, after they're done with their treatment, the water is so pure, they have to add minerals back in or it will corrode their steel pipe. It is the cleanest water that goes into the aquifer by far. It is a drought-proof resource, so when the rest of the county was worried about where they were going to get water from the Metropolitan Water District, we are pumping 87% of our water now from the aquifer in a sustainable way. So huge investment, but a long-term payoff for the residents of North Central Orange County. We still have our environmental roots. When we were putting all that water out to the Pacific Ocean, we spent a lot of time making sure that that water was safe to recreate and play in. So it's going 5 miles out, it's not coming back. And we make sure, because we have our own boat, which you can see there, the Narissa. It goes out, it takes sand samples, so it'll take mud samples, make sure nothing's accumulating in the mud layers of the ocean. We're checking the fish. We're doing water column sampling on a regular basis. We go down the beach in concert with the county and take water samples from Seal Beach all the way down to Crystal Cove to make sure that water is safe to swim in. We have the highest beach water quality ratings in the state. So a lot of good things happening. All those dots are sample points. So pay a lot of attention to the water quality. That is our original mission. But we're never resting on our laurels. We're always looking for new technology, new ways to treat waste. One of the problems that we're all facing across the country is PFAS, PFOA, microplastics in the water. When those things accumulate in our biosolids, we're looking for alternatives in the future as those problems become more and more prevalent to not just sort them out and throw them away, but to destroy them. So there's this new technology that we're looking at called supercritical water oxidation. First one in the country. I was able to see the unit that we have built. It will treat 6 tons a day in one step. In 4 seconds, you put in sludge, which you see in that black vial. After it's gone through the process, 4 seconds of reaction, you get pure water, which is what's next to it. So what you're left with is some carbon dioxide, some nitrogen, some water vapor, and some dissolved minerals. It feels like sand, and it's iron and calcium and the things that were in the water to start with. So it's a great opportunity to improve environmental quality one more step, and it's a way for us to actually destroy forever chemicals, which aren't so forever anymore. But enough about us, and let's talk a little about you. We appreciate your thoughtful hosting of our efforts to make sure that the sewage that we have collected in your city and above your city passes through and you never see or smell it again. So we have been working hard to upgrade your sewers. Originally, I was here, I think 4 or 5 years ago, talking about a project that was going to dig up the streets that I'm showing you now, which was basically, I think they're minor streets in your city, Seal Beach Boulevard and Catella, right? So luckily, because we are a technology loving district and do our best to be as good a neighbor as possible, we found a different technology to fix your sewers where we didn't have to dig up your streets and put in new pipe. We were able to take your old clay pipes, knock out some calcium deposits that had formed where there were leaks in some old gaskets, inject some grout through those leaky gaskets, and now we have great 50-year pipe left without all the hassle of digging up your streets for a period of months. It has been a little more chaotic, we understand, in how the contractor will jump around from repair to repair to repair, and now manhole to manhole to manhole. So the last phase of the project we're in right now is replacing and repairing manholes. So for 50 years, you shouldn't see us in these streets again, unless we're cleaning, and we do that all the time. And that's the good news. The even better news is that we're going to continue to invest in your neighborhoods and make sure that your neighbors a little to the north of where we've been working will have the same level of service that we've provided down here. And I say that half jokingly that we do see it as an investment in the community. Yes, it's disruptive. Yes, it's hard work, but it's necessary work to make sure the infrastructure works all the time. I was paying attention. So we do thank you for your patience. There is some work coming up, as I said, to your north. You'll be driving through it. So just know that we'll be doing our best to make sure it's as small an impact as possible, but we are continuing to invest overall in the overall infrastructure that makes Orange County work so well. So you may be asking yourself, well, where do you get all this money for all these big things? And I'm glad you asked. It's from you, the ratepayers. Everyone who lives in our service area, if you're in a single family home, pays $347 per year on your property tax bill. That's right, less than $1 a day makes all that power, all that reclaimed water that's there for the drinking, all that energy to run the plant, and all of it without a smell anywhere in a manhole, as far as you know. So most of our money comes from fees. We do get some from property taxes, and the money goes to really things in the ground. Our operations cost is less than half. We're always spending in capital because our business wears things out, it erodes and it corrodes, and so we're spending half of our money on our capital improvement program. We are not issuing new debt. We have not issued debt in the last 8 years. We're a pay-as-you-go agency. The last debt we put out was to increase our secondary treatment levels, increase our capacity in the plant. So we try to be a very efficiently and effectively run agency for the lowest possible cost. And with that, I can answer any questions you have on where it goes when you flush the toilet. Please.
Okay. What is the most interesting or random thing that y'all have found in one of those traps? Yeah. I know somebody else was thinking that. Okay.
So when you come take the tour, you will see at the back of the plant, there are turtles.
Turtles?
And koi fish that are in a back corner of the plant. And the lore, whether you believe it or not, is that the turtles came from the bar screens. They were rescued from the bar screens. So they're cute little turtles. They live in we take our secondary effluent, which is our processed water. We pump it into what was an old abandoned vault, and it makes a great environment. These fish have been alive for 20 years. The koi are about that long, and the turtles are about that big around. Plant staff take care of them. You'll see they have a little floaty spot, and they throw food to them on a regular basis, and visitors aren't allowed to feed them. But that's the coolest thing. But lumber, I would have to say, is the weirdest. How do you get a 10-foot 4x4? And the answer is, I think construction. Construction's being done. Somebody's not looking, and so that's my answer.
I'm more concerned about the bowling ball.
Have,
even wrap my
yeah.
head around that.
Well, you pop a manhole and it fits easily.
Okay. Can I just schedule a tour? I can just come when I want?
Yeah, we're open to the public. No, just kidding. Yes. No. If you go to our website, we have a link, but you can also just call in, and our public affairs people will schedule tours. They do it all the time.
I want to go.
We actually sent out a letter, I think, to city staff offering. Fountain Valley's coming in, so you got to keep up with Fountain Valley.
It's no problem.
There you go. You're certainly welcome. It's a great tour.
Madam
I
Mayor,
was traveling the last time, so
Okay.
I have an excused absence, but I want to go to that. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
no, I'm sorry. Madam Mayor, I did want to mention one thing, and I think Mr. Thomas, he'd have to agree that our public works and our development services staff, obviously, they are very focused on ensuring that they get the most out of projects when they come to town. And I've never seen Ron notice smile after coming out of a meeting like that. But I just wanted to say and compliment the director on him and his staff. They've been a joy to work with, and obviously we've been very demanding about what exactly the community needs are, and they've been a great partner along the way. So thank you for that.
We appreciate it.
I just had one quick question on the status of the sewer trunk project. I believe you've already done all the underground pipe, and now you're doing the manholes.
Correct.
So just for the residents' knowledge, how much longer will you be blessing us in our city?
We will be continuing to invest in your city
There you go.
through late summer. Through late summer.
Okay.
We will be done by fall is
Perfect, thank
our
you.
best guess.
I like that perspective, the framing. We're investing.
Always be selling.
I like it a lot. Okay. Good. All good? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Side note, in regards to the last presentation for the e-bike safety update, we will be presenting that at the June City Council meeting.
Sorry, Sergeant Krogum is out doing some real police work, and we want him to be doing that right now.
Okay, then that is also an excused absence. All right. Okay, so we will move on to item 6, which is oral communications. At this time, any individual in the audience may come forward to speak on any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Remarks are to be limited to not more than 5 minutes per speaker. I will make a small request. If you come up, please fill out a speaker card and/or sign in on the sheet that is at the podium, just in case we need to reach out, follow up, and make sure that your concern was met. We got any volunteers? I see someone being volunteered. Come on down.
Yeah, voluntold.
Somebody needs a patch. Come get your patch, friend.
Hello. So I actually already have the patch.
Watch out. I stand corrected and apologize.
So my name's Keith Hanna. I'm here to thank Teresa Murphy for helping me with my Eagle Scout project. She is letting me create a drought-friendly garden for her Precious Life Pregnancy Center. Precious Life, as you probably already heard, provides a shelter and vocational training for homeless pregnant teenagers. I chose to design a water-wise garden for the shelter so the residents could enjoy a nice garden, and the shelter could also save on their water bill. You know how expensive water's getting these days? Teresa has been supporting me in creating an Etsy store where I am selling t-shirts and hoodies that advertise the Precious Life Center, and the proceeds from the sale go to the Garden Fund. Any additional money raised will go directly, after it's been going to the garden, it will go directly back to her. And yeah, so my mom and dad are currently wearing 2 of the shirts.
Please stand so we can see.
They'll also be talking a little bit later. I also created a flyer for the member of the council for if you guys want to support. I have flyers for everyone. Also, a QR code that goes to a Venmo account if you don't want to have a t-shirt but just a direct donation. The estimated cost for both gardens, because we're going to do one in the front, one in the back, is going to be around $2,000, so it is a lot. Yeah. So once again, thank you, Teresa, for being so kind and encouraging for me and my project, and I'm happy you're being recognized for all you do. Anyone like a...
Yeah, hand them over to our
Yes,
city clerk,
yes.
please. We absolutely want to
Yes.
help the young folk. All right.
Good evening. My name is Laura Tanner, and I am delighted to be here to support Teresa Murphy and her much-deserved award. I am a Christian American conservative and very involved in the pro-life movement. One of the chief complaints of the pro-choice crowd is that pro-life individuals only care about saving the life of the child, but offer no help to the mother or child after it is born. Well, the Precious Life Shelter defeats that narrative since it looks after both the mother and the child. It is an amazing organization that equips young women with employment and maternal skills. It is so deserving of recognition. Teresa is such an amazing person, and I have a special place in my heart for her as she is helping my son Keith, our son Keith, sorry, Dick, didn't even hear. Our son Keith Tanner with his Eagle Scout project at the center. She graciously allowed Keith to change his original project when it didn't fit his skill set. She is dynamic, charismatic, generous to a fault, and simply a delight to be around. I feel very blessed to call her friend. Congrats, Teresa, on this reward. You earned it.
So pretty awesome family there, my wife and son there. I don't have a prepared speech, but I wanted to be supportive and come up and just acknowledge, everything that you guys are doing in the city, acknowledging Teresa for what she's done. I haven't got to know her as well as Laura. They've become friends, and obviously working directly with Keith. She's been super supportive and helpful in that. I did get the opportunity to meet her at a recent fundraiser. She came out into a real estate event where they were able to raise $500, so they're 25% of the way there on that. But when she got up and spoke, I was really moved and impressed and got to find out a lot about it. So for those of you that may not fully understand what Precious Life does, it's worth a conversation with her. She really does walk the talk, and the fruit of her labor is evident in the growth that everything that's gone there, and she's just really sincere. So thank you for being part of our community. Thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for becoming friends and becoming part of our family and our little village. So you're awesome. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I just want to mention I'm the chairperson for the Board of Directors for Precious Life Shelter, and we have a fundraiser coming up on June 4th, and that's what we depend on to continue to do what we do for these women. We help these women go from codependent to independent off of state-assisted programs. So we do that without asking for state funds. We don't want state funds because our programs are stricter than what the state requires. So on June 4th, we have a barbecue and wine tasting over at, and it has beer. I don't drink beer, so. Any rate, over at St. Isidore's Historical Plaza, where we like to try to keep it within our city and help other nonprofits as well.
Thank you. Wait, one quick question before you go. Will there be a link if, for example, someone can't attend due to prior engagement to make a direct donation?
You can always go onto Precious Life Shelter's website and make donations. We'll take them. We also have a thrift store that we have that helps support us as well. So if you have items that you want to donate, diamonds, rubies, whatever, we take anything. So thanks.
Very good, thank you. Do I have any other friends looking to speak before I close oral communications? All right, we will move on along to item 7, updates from the mayor. So at this time, the mayor will report on items not specifically described on the agenda that are of interest to the community, provided no action or discussion is taken. So basically what this means is there are some magnificent things that happen that y'all might not get to hear about because I'm there and then it just rattles around in my head and I share it with some of the staff. But I think it's important that our community know what your electeds are doing out there in the real world to affect beautiful change in our city. So the first thing that I would like to share is that our housing element was officially approved and officially certified by the state. Ron, was there anything that you wanted to add to that? I have 2 other items to share, or is that enough to share?
We're good, Mayor.
You good? Okay. The other thing that I would like to share is that one of our projects was selected by Congresswoman Michelle Steele's office. The amount of the request is $728,000.13. The project would help fund the Bloomfield Street project that is part of the Los Alamitos Active Transportation Plan. This project is to implement infrastructure to travel the north-south corridor of Bloomfield Street to make it safer for students, families, and visitors of Los Alamitos. Now, this is a huge deal because, number one, it speaks to how we have been really trying valiantly to create sustainable and reciprocal relationships with all of our electeds. And this also speaks to the fact that not only was your mayor in the room, but staff was there. That completes the full circle. Because although I have a title, they have the knowledge and the information and sometimes just the wherewithal to say, hey, here's our shovel-ready project. I can't keep track of them all. This is one of our shovel-ready projects. We have a list of them now. These are some of the things that our staff are working on when they're burning that midnight oil. So I would like to congratulate our development services for that. And as soon as I hear back from their office, because I have a secret squirrel in her office, I can't tell y'all because we're their favorite and I don't want to get them in trouble. But this is an amazing thing. I'll keep y'all posted. And then the other thing is it's heavy on my heart to have transportation for our seniors, and not just medical transportation, not just take you to the doctors, take you to fill a prescription. I want y'all to be able to get your hair done, get your nails done, visit a friend, go to the beach, okay? So Mrs. Noda and Ron, they kind of helped me gather these thoughts and the people in the same room. So we had a meeting with Transit Authority, and they were like, yep, we will work on this. Then we had another meeting with Rossmore and Seal Beach where we are able, you guys know we share a school district, right? So we have a template for sharing other services. So we've decided, you know what, we will pool our resources, we will pool our brain power, and we can make this go. Seal Beach wants to come to our hospital, and we want to go to their beach. So I have another secret squirrel. Oh, y'all are making a lot of friends, okay? Over at Transit Authority, and I've let him know that as long as his hand is empty, every time he sees me, I'm going to ask for my bus. And that bus is for the senior transportation. So I want you guys to know that we are working tirelessly and valiantly to get the services that we really believe, because you know, when my friends, my seasoned friends, come to the senior events and the, Tuesdays and Thursdays they come, they have to walk for, 2-3 blocks, and some of them are on walkers, and I'm sorry, that's kind of unacceptable to me. Our parking lot is tiny, we need a bus. So this is something else that I'm super excited that we're working on, and the most exciting thing is, from what I hear, these things don't typically move as fast, and if y'all are praying folk, pray. If you just need to cross your fingers, do that with me. My secret squirrel at Transit Authority is thinking we could get it done in 2024. So yeah, Chet would have to tell you how significant that is. I'm not quite sure, but apparently that's a big deal that it would move that quickly. So these are more significant things that this office is working on with our most amazing staff. And that is all that I have for my report for this evening. Thank you for indulging me. Next, we have updates from city staff.
Thank you, Mayor. And I learned a long time ago not to follow the mayor when speaking, so I'm going to throw the staff under the bus and make them do it. We do have a couple of updates from different projects and things that are going along in the city, and so I'm going to actually ask the chief to start, if he wouldn't mind, simply because I think he has some rather important news to share with the city and also with the council.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and start with one that is kind of heavy on the heart. On May 13th, 2023, Riverside County Sheriff's Deputy Brett Harris died as a result of injuries sustained from an on-duty traffic collision that occurred on Friday, May 12th. Deputy Harris was assigned to the Hemet station and was responding to a call for backup when the collision occurred. He is survived by his wife, parents, brother, and twin sister. Please keep the Harris family members of the Riverside County Sheriff's Department in your thoughts and prayers, and us in the law enforcement world will be wearing mourning bands until he is laid to rest. So if I could ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Next, I would like to report on renovations that are being done at the police department. So we have been working closely with Ron Noda and his staff to get some renovations done, long-needed renovations done at the PD, from paint on the walls to flooring to furniture. So we are definitely not complete, but we have made some headway, and the project itself is very encouraging because it is lifting the morale within the police department, which is a vital tool for recruitment and retention, which has been an ongoing problem in the world of law enforcement recently. So we are very appreciative of all of the support that we have been given by the council, by the city, and especially from Ron and his staff. We also have a unique opportunity to work with the Orange County Fire Authority, who was able to provide us one of their mobile command posts that we placed at the back of the PD that we were able to work out of while the renovations were being done inside the police department. So special thank you to our partners at the Orange County Fire Authority for all of their help. Next, I would like to report on a grant that we're partnering with the Orange County District Attorney's Office. The grant is for $400,000 over a 2-year period, and it will fund a deputy DA and part of an investigator's salary. In addition to a traditional investigation and prosecution efforts, the grant will provide training to law enforcement agencies and education and outreach to community-based organizations on the topic of hate crimes and the consequences of hate crime convictions. And we are drafting a letter of support that will be sent to the District Attorney's Office in the hopes that they will be granted this grant. And last, but definitely not least, save the best for last, about 6 months ago, I submitted Officer Mark Navarro for the Attorney General's Award for Distinguished Service in Community Policing through the Department of Justice Community-Oriented Policing Office. I'll provide a quick overview. The Attorney General's Award for Distinguished Service in Community Policing recognizes individual state, local, or tribal sworn rank-and-file police officers, deputies, and troopers for exceptional efforts in effective policing. The awards will be presented by the Attorney General at a ceremony honoring the recipients in Washington, D.C. at the Great Hall of Robert F. Kennedy Justice Department Building. Eligible candidates must be in a non-supervisory position at the time of the activities, programs, initiatives for which they are being nominated took place. The winners will have demonstrated active, exceptional performance in one of 3 categories: innovations in community policing, criminal investigations, or the category for which Officer Navarro is being recognized, which is field operations. And the awards are given in the small, medium, or large agency categories, and it's an agency servicing a population of fewer than 50,000. And as far as the award recipients, congratulations to the recipients of the award for Distinguished Service in Policing, acknowledging the exceptional work of law enforcement officers, deputies, and troopers from jurisdictions across the country. Each of the officers, deputies, and troopers honored has demonstrated commitment to exceptional policing in cities, towns, and localities where they serve. Through their excellent service and dedication to professional, impartial, and effective policing, these individuals are having a transformational impact on their agencies by embracing policing strategies that build and strengthen trust and mutual cooperation between law enforcement officers and the communities they serve. The Attorney General's Award for Distinguished Service in Policing recognizes individual state, local, and tribal police officers, deputies, and troopers who exemplify remarkable achievements in innovative community policing strategies, criminal investigations, and operations. In the more than 18,000 law enforcement agencies throughout the country, the everyday work of individual officers, deputies, and troopers often goes unsung. to remedy this, the then Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, announced the creation of this award in 2016 to honor the outstanding work of the rank and file officers. So Officer Navarro is getting an all expenses paid trip for himself and his wife to go to DC to receive the award. And we could not be more honored to have him do so, to represent this community and this police department. And unfortunately, the award will be on June 5th, and I will be there to support him. So unfortunately, I will not be able to make it to the event that you'll be having.
You can still make a donation from what
I can still make a donation. You are correct. I stand corrected.
They take Venmo, it's right here.
I'd also like Director Noda to discuss some of the, I'm sorry, just thinking about the donation, some of the updates from Development Services.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. A couple quick things. I just want to remind council and the public that next Wednesday, the 24th, we have Good Morning Los Alamitos scheduled for Little Cottonwood Park beginning at 8:30 a.m. Good Morning Los Alamitos is a chance for the community to engage with departments and our partners. And so all the city departments from PD, Recreation Community Services, Development Services, Finance, City Clerk's Office, et cetera, will be there, along with some of our partners such as the Universal Waste Systems, which is our trash hauler. OCFA will be there with us, and our Long Beach Animal Control will be there with us as well to answer any questions from the community. So again, it's scheduled for next Wednesday, the 24th, Little Cottonwood Park. It begins at 8:30 a.m. It's free for everyone. We will provide a continental breakfast and giveaways. So again, join us if you have time that day. The second thing is a resident recently went to the last month's Planning Commission requesting to alter the city's municipal code to allow short-term rentals. So currently, short-term rentals are not allowed in the city. And so what is a short-term rental? It's an establishment, often a private home or apartment, providing overnight accommodation to guests for payment. And so most people know that short-term rentals are Airbnb and VRBO. There are two examples. And so again, currently they are not allowed in the city according to our municipal code, but this resident has requested to the Planning Commission to do an assessment and to bring this up for recommendation, and ultimately it will be brought forth to council if it is recommended by our Planning Commission. So the first order our Planning Commission has requested for staff is to do a citywide survey. So that survey will be launched next week. We will do a massive outreach program where we'll do mailers, social media, e-newsletters, and it all goes back and ties into a link to the city's website where you'll go on to an online survey. It's a quick survey. I'm looking at right now, you're looking at like 8 questions. And basically, we as a city and our Planning Commission would like input from all the residents to see if they would like to have short-term rentals allowed in the city or not. So again, the survey will be launched next week. You can go to the city's website to take the survey, but we will be also doing outreach via mailers, door hangers, and social media and e-newsletters. And that's it from Development Services Department.
Thank you, Ron. I'd also like the other director, Noda, if you have some updates about upcoming events.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I wanted to highlight our summer recreation brochure. You should have received it in the mail, or you could pick one up at the community center or visit our city website and go under recreation. And just highlight some of the items listed on page 6 is our summer concert series sponsored by Memorial Care. We are starting off on Pine Street on June 15th through July 13th. These are Thursday nights at 6:30. Then we move on to concerts in the park, and we alternate from Little Cottonwood Park to Orville Lewis. And the lineup from July 20th through August 10th, all of our bands that we've secured are very good bands. We've searched their Facebooks and seen their followers, so we encourage you to come out. And then on page 8, our partnership with the Los Alamitos Unified School District. We now have aquatics back at the high school. We are super excited for this. As you know, we started back, I don't know if it was like 30 years ago back at the high school, and then went to the base, and then didn't have aquatics for a while since 2017, so now we're back. So on page 8, you'll see all of our classes. We're trying to keep the classes affordable. They're group lessons. Monday, Wednesday, Friday programming, we have lap swim available, and Monday, Wednesday classes, and then Friday we have recreation open swim. So I know the school district is very excited to offer this community resource for our Los Alamitos community. I spoke about Los Alamitos Summer Day Camp last month, so please register for that. And then on page, I think it's 10, we have our summer special interest camps. There's 4 pages worth. We have anything and everything to keep your child active all summer. And we also have Summer Parks program, which is free to the community, alternating between Little Cottonwood Park and Orville Lewis Park throughout the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That will complete our report.
Awesome. Okay, so we're moving on to the warrants. Can I get a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Get a roll call?
Mayor Doby,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nafolda,
Yes.
Councilmember Hasselbrink,
Aye.
Councilmember Hibbard,
Aye.
Councilmember Murphy.
Aye.
All right, so we'll go to 10, the consent calendar. All consent calendar items may be acted upon by one motion unless a council member requests a separate action on a specific item. City Manager Simmons is pulling item 10B. Are there any other items that anyone would like to pull? Nope, okay. Can I get a motion to move the consent calendar?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now I am, discussion items? All right, so we got city council ad hoc committees. This item allows council to appoint 2 members to various ad hoc committees to assist staff with large projects before bringing items to council for approval. Can I get a staff report, please?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm actually going to turn this one over to the city clerk. But again, this is an opportunity for the council to become involved in a lot of the projects that are going to be long-term in terms of the city. They are very limited in scope in terms of what exactly we'll be looking and putting the council through, but it is an opportunity to kind of get in on the ground floor with some of the projects that we will be working on in the coming year.
Okay.
So as City Manager Simmons said, this is for long-term projects, so it's important for staff in the community that the council gets a weigh in instead of us just doing all the research without any direction from the council. So we do have 3 ad hoc committees that we're looking for. The first is for a council member handbook. We surveyed surrounding cities, and from feedback from our newest council members, learned that we could do a little more communication and education for our oncoming council members. So we have requested an ad hoc committee to help us review the handbook and make sure we're giving relevant information. So we're requesting 2 council members for that. And then we have a council member goal setting. City Manager Simmons mentioned earlier this year that we are looking to establish goals for the council. Part of that is picking a facilitator and working with the coordination of the council calendar. So we're asking for a committee for that as well. And then the final item is for the city branding. As you've heard all the wonderful things that are going on around the city, we want to make sure that we're presenting a unified message throughout the city and that the city of Los Alamitos has a voice and everyone can define us. So that's part of the branding committee. And so our 2 members on that committee will help us pick a facilitator and work through the program. The policy will actually come back to council for approval.
Okay. All right, so we'll go with 1. Start with 1, council member handbook ad hoc committee.
Yes.
I'd like to be involved in that.
Okay, there's 1.
All right.
I'll volunteer.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, you got those 2, Hasselbrink and the folder for handbook?
Yes.
Next, we have council member goal setting. Okay, I'll do it. And who would like to be my friend? Can I do it by myself? I don't mind.
Your committee of 1.
You can.
Don't bother me none.
You can.
Okay. All right, and then the branding. Okay, I'll do that one too.
Okay.
Get me?
And, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, now somebody want to be my friend.
I'll go ahead and volunteer for the goal setting ad hoc committee as well.
Okay, so I have,
You couldn't say nothing. Okay.
for the council member handbook ad hoc committee, we have Councilmember Hasselbrink and Mayor Pro Tem Nafolda. For the council member goal setting, we have Mayor Doby and Councilmember Murphy. And for the council city branding ad hoc committee, we have Mayor Doby and Councilmember Hibbard. We can have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, next is B, the preliminary budget for fiscal year 2023 and the fiscal year 2025. Before we start that, though.
We're good, right? We're good? Okay. I'm going to take off. I'll catch up with Chet about what I missed. Thank you.
I'll give you a minute.
Thank you.
Don't forget your notes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
You got a minute.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, can I get a staff report then?
Of course, Madam Mayor, before I turn it over to the Finance Director, I did just want to say a few words. This obviously is the beginning of the budget process with involving the entire council. However, we have already had multiple meetings with the Budget Standing Committee in development of this budget. Largely, you will see this track with the budget forecasts that we received prior years. Obviously, Craig has gone through and updated all those to make sure that we have incorporated all the most relative economic data that has come to us, and he will continue to do so as we move to a potential June adoption. Obviously, again, this is preliminary, so there will be an opportunity for Mayor Pro Tem Nafolda to get this full repeat as well. A few things, though, that I did want to mention, and I'm sure Craig will actually mention them as well, is that I believe that we have instituted a lot of the best policies and best practices with regards to moving the city into a 2-year budget cycle. It has allowed for us to really do the planning going forward and being able to forecast where exactly we anticipate to be each year after year, and understanding that the decisions that the council makes has multiple years it's going to impact. One of the things that I do want to note right up top is that this is a very ambitious budget, especially in terms of the CIP projects that we hope to put out on the street this year. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Craig.
Thank you, Chad. So tonight we'll be reviewing, discussing the preliminary budget for general fund for fiscal year 23-24 and 24-25. At the same time, we'll also review some proposed changes to the purchase policy and then providing direction to staff. As Chad mentioned, there's been updates all along as we develop this budget. Some updates on economic, market, and housing has been provided for you in this report. The U.S. Treasury is reacting to interest rate hikes. Inflation is still very much in play. It's very elevated. Latest rate hike from the Fed brings the federal fund rate to 5.25%. This results in tighter credit conditions for consumers and businesses alike. The bond yield curve is also inverted, meaning that the short term is greater than the long-term yields. 2-year Treasury rates are exceeding 5-year and 10-year rates. Housing market reflects slowdown, higher interest rates, and less inventory of available houses for sale. This new budget again reflects the 2 fiscal years. The concept was first introduced in fiscal year 21-22. We're asking for adoption or seeking adoption of fiscal year 23-24, and then fiscal year 24-25 will be used as a planning tool in conjunction with the first fiscal year. Projected revenues, including transfers in for fiscal year 23-24, are $23.2 million, and fiscal year 24-25 are $23.1 million. This table here reflects a summary of the adopted budget. We were about $21.3 million for our adopted budget. 23-24 proposed budget has revenues totaling $23.2 million, which includes transfers in, and 24-25 projection at $23.1 million. The 23-24 revenue projection is up approximately 11% over the prior budget. The leading factors for this is the property taxes, sales, and Measure Y local sales tax. All leaders with strong growth. Property tax is up 3.8% from the prior budget. Sales and use taxes up approximately 15.7%. And the sales tax Measure Y is the real big leader, reflects biggest gain over prior budget at 22.7%, 1.2 million greater. Some revenue categories are reflecting down, and this is the UUT and franchise fees, and this is because trends reflect the change in consumer usage and application.
Greg, can I stop you there for a second?
Yes.
Just wanted to mention this to the council just because it's small. Well, it's not small, but it gets lost in the details sometimes. The council recently, probably about a year and a half ago, took action to rework our investment policy, what exactly Craig is allowed to do with dollars. And you broadened where exactly he could actually put those dollars in investments. That has netted another $40K in terms of just true interest at the end of the day. So again, in terms of a $20 million budget, not a massive thing, but again, we have staff that's looking to capture every single dollar at every opportunity that they can.
Thank you.
Thank you. So again, the new budget reflects increases in materials on the expenditure side, supplies and services. Further structuring has been undertaken of internal operations to meet department and city goals. Salaries reflect the second year of the COLA adjustments from the prior negotiated MOUs, and fiscal year 24-25 is reflecting a 3% COLA just as a placeholder. Proposed expenditures for fiscal 23-24 is $22.4 million, and 24-25 is $21.0 million. Table on page 8 reflects the adopted budget at about $20.8 million. The proposed, again, expenditures of $22.4 million, and we're compared to 24-25 of approximately $21 million. Continuation of the general fund expenditures breakdown. The City Council is a proposed increase of $16,737 over the prior budget, and this includes changes for increased in supplies of $4,875, dues increase of $5,720, and this now includes subscriptions or meetings for OCOG, LAFCO, SCAG, and the League. Advertising is up $2,875, and this primarily is for notices for ordinance and ordinance adoption. Commissioner appreciation of $5,000, meeting cable casting of about $1,600. And worthy to note here, employee wellness has been moved to administration under the city manager's budget. The city manager was also directed to prepare a admin policy for travel. Cost was covered for the mayor, mayor pro tem, or council member in their absence. Additional costs for any staff member to accompany council to the meetings will be borne by the department. The administration budget, so it's comprised of the city manager, city clerk, human resources, and also a management analyst. Additional staffing here is proposed of additional management analysts and a deputy city clerk. Both these positions will be assisting with expanded workload for the administration department. Total department expenses for admin are $1.5 million for both fiscal years. Finance consists of a director, manager, accountant, and senior finance assistant. Total department expenses of $1 million for both fiscal years. Police department is now has a full complement of 24 sworn officers, including bike and motor patrols. Additional sworn officer was approved. In addition, this is funded by OCAT for 3 years. This position allows for backfill and increase in retention within the department. Total department expenditures for the police are $8.3 million for fiscal year 23-24 and $8.7 million for fiscal year 24-25. Development services, additional staffing is proposed, adding an additional secretary to split duties for the department because the demands have increased. Additional management analysis proposed to provide additional analytical support. 6 additional maintenance workers. This will cover repairs, new parks, setup and takedown for special events. The overall goal for this department is to create a fully functioning public works 7-day coverage to main facilities and the now increased investment in the city's infrastructure. Total department expenditures for development services are $5 million for first fiscal year 23-24 and $5.2 million for 24-25. Moving on to recreation, the proposed increase, this department is mainly in part-time salaries with the expansion of programs and now adding back the aquatics program. Total department expenditures for community recreation community services is $2.5 million for both fiscal years. Wanted to add this overlay here as a look at the general fund balance has increased and grown. We took a 5-year kind of picture of this. These are actual numbers, starting with fiscal year 18-19. Budget surplus, approximately $1.1 million. Added to the previous year's general fund balance creates a general fund balance of $8.8 million. You can see in each fiscal year, the budget surplus has been increasingly growing. Fiscal 19-20 is 1.4. Fiscal 2021 is 3.3, and actual for 21-22 is 4.1 million for the budget surplus, which brings this to an estimated general fund balance for fiscal 22-23 of 20.5 million. It's grown approximately 200% since 18-19.
Craig, can I stop you there for a second? And just because I want to just take a stroll down history lane for a second. When I was first hired, one of the major tasks that was handed to me and the team was to look for a way to actually provide financial stability for the city. That meant not only trying to take stock of our revenues, but also looking at our expenditures and also other ways that we might be able to capture additional revenue. Obviously, the passage of Measure Y was an incredible step forward in that process. But staff's not stopped at that. We are now, like I said, working on different ways to increase our investment portfolio. We're also looking at different ways to actually go out and seize different grant monies like the mayor alluded to with regards to federal funding. These are all things that did not occur prior to Craig honestly being in place. One of the things that it has done too is allowed us to build a rainy day fund, which I think is incredibly important for a city of our size to be able to tackle those issues. And I remember when I was first interviewed that it would take us between 2 and 3 years to get our financial house in order. That is something that we are working toward, and that work is not over, but I do think that we have made, and we should recognize the fact that we have made significant strides in this arena. The next step of that was probably 2 or 3 years to get ourselves into a place where we were actually being able to deliver significant and consistent projects out on the streets for our residents in the guise of CIP projects, which we'll get to next. And again, some of the other piece of that stool is ensuring that we have an organization that's built that will allow for it to be sustained going forward. That's one of the goals of this budget, is to actually work on how exactly we retain people, how exactly we hire them, and how we compensate them. So those will all be items that'll be coming up here in the next couple of slides, but sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Understandable.
Thank you. Rolling right into this, on the side of the general fund expenditures, some retention strategies were discussed with the Budget Standing Committee at the April and the May meeting. This includes salary tier adjustments, basically moving Tier 2 and Tier 3 to Tier 1, or equivalent of Tier 1. Flex scheduling and additional percentage increases to recognize additional duties that staff has taken on.
And if I can touch on that again just for one quick second, the tier system that's in place right now, which is essentially that employees hired at a certain time in history make more or less than another employee that might be doing the same job. I think you will all agree that is not ideal for morale when you are working next to somebody who is making more doing the same job. Just from a parity standpoint, this will help us with recruiting and ultimately takes us to the next step when we start talking about doing class and compensation studies, that we are all starting from the same starting point in order to review. And while it is a small change, honestly, I believe that we topped out at about 130 to 160K, and in order to implement that change, I think it goes a long way to definitely demonstrating to the unions that we are definitely trying to make sure that there's parity for all of our employees.
Another significant accomplishment is we were able to pass a pension pay down for the unfunded liability back in December with a resolution 2223. The UAL pay down will begin in July of 2023. The minimum ADP or additional discretionary payments under this plan is $260,000 a year. We've also added in additional payments when approved and audited and completed, which will be an additional 25% of any surplus going forward. The goal is, again, to reach 100% funding for unfunded liability in 12 years or less.
This is where I'm going to throw out another prediction that I fully intend for us to get there before 12 years.
Wait.
I don't want. I keep on thinking, what do I want to commit to, knowing that I'm on camera. So, I will strive and endeavor to get as close to that number as humanly possible.
No pressure.
No.
Okay, tonight. So again, we also want to look at the purchase policy in connection with the budget. Changes to the city's purchase policy are being proposed. It's codified with the Los Alamitos Municipal Code, Chapter 2.60 under Purchasing Ordinance. This was last amended in 2021. The proposed amendments will provide better following for regulations of other surrounding jurisdictions, better align with operating needs of the city, streamline the procurement process, and then will allow anticipated gains in the workflow efficiencies. Specifically, proposed changes are for the following sections. Sections 2.60.050A. This is purchasing authority of the City Council for any contracts or purchases exceeding $100,000 awarded within a contract approval. This is currently at $50,000. This proposed increase will increase the City Council's authority anything greater than $100,000. At the same time, the purchasing authority for the city manager, section 2.60.050B, city manager's approval authority. We found that in many cases, contracts and services are exceeding this amount, which has caused significant delays and needed work in a timely manner. Our revision will increase the city manager's approval authority to $100,000 in line with the city council's authority. The next section is on page 17 of the slides, purchasing procedure, purchasing orders. This section 2.60.6060C2, purchase orders for goods, materials, and equipment for any single item or aggregate purchase with an estimated value of $7,500 or greater. This is a change from the previous level of $5,000, which is currently in effect. The next is purchasing procedure, purchase orders, section 2.60.060D2. Single item or aggregate purchase of an estimated value of greater than $10,000. This will now require 3 formal bids. There has to be attained for this purchase. Previous threshold was $5,000, as mentioned above. Next change or proposed change is the exception of purchasing procedures, section 2.60.070. Bidding requirements are dispensed with for emergency purchases. Proposed change would allow the city manager approval of emergency purchases up to $100,000, consistent with their proposed approval authority change in section 2.60.050B. City manager or his designee will notify the Budget Standing Committee and prepare a report of any circumstances of the emergency as soon as possible. The report will be filed with the City Council at its next regular meeting.
Craig, if I can stop you there too. Again, this takes me back to the first time that we had to make a change to the purchasing policy. The mayor, or I'm sorry, Councilmember Hasselbrink at the time asked if that was enough and I foolishly said yes, I'm sorry that we're having to bring this back to you at this point for another increase. It really speaks to just the speed in which we're able to actually accomplish projects at this point. The charter itself has its own struggles, but this does put some leniency in the way that we actually do our operations, given the fact that we do contract for a lot of services.
Next, I want to briefly give an overview of the CIP, and then Mr. Noda will provide additional detail following this. The proposed CIP project is projected for 23-24 is about $7 million. The prior fiscal year was $4.2 million. Prior department line item charges for capital-related expenses are now included as part of CIP, whereas they were included with general fund. Now they're listed out separately. The fiscal year 23-24 CIP budget funding includes prior year pending fiscal year 22-23 of $2.1 million. 3.7 CIP will be funded from the estimated 22-23 surplus, and 1.2 million will be funded by special funds. And again, this will be Ron will go over this part of it.
Thank you, Craig. Like City Manager Simmons said, that we have a very ambitious CIP project coming up for our upcoming fiscal year. I'm not going to go over every single project, but please, Council, if you have questions on any specific one, please stop me. But like Craig said, we have approximately $1.2 million in CIP funded by special funds. You can see some of it right there. It's a Catella Street rehab project design. Catella is a very heavy corridor in the city, very long, and it's an arterial, and so it have to have a design on it to, and it's approximately that amount there, $300,000. And then once we get the design, then we'll bring it back to council to see how we want to phase into repairing the street. It is in need of repair. And so you could do it as a whole, which is a huge amount, or you could divide it up in different phases, whether it's a 2-phase where you do basically half and half, or you want to do a 4-phase, which is a quarter at a time. That's more manageable in terms of dollar amount. But other ones there is a residential slurry seal. Our city engineer has come up with a program to slurry seal every residential street in Los Alamitos in 7 phases, 7 years. So we were proposing to do phase 1. And then we have, of course, pavement, street marking to line the street, tree trimming, concrete ADA rehab, and signal light replacement project. So a little bit of clarification. We're not actually changing the actual signal light, the red, green, and yellow. It's the safety light that goes above it. So those are all the old lights, and we want to change it to LED for cost savings. Moving on to the next slide here is proposed for a general fund. Again, I'm not going to go over every single one. I'm going to quickly go Laurel Park Tennis Court project. Let's see, Bradbury, Rossmore Way signal light relocation. That's a big one right there. We're moving a signal light because of some safety and ADA issues to another location. We want to do a medium island concept and design project. So we're going to hire a firm to come up with some concept designs, bring it back to council, have council approve which one they want to go, and then go out and design the rest of the medians across the city. What else? We have 2 park project online, Labradette Park and Stearns Park. We're right in the middle of Stearns Park right now. We have some community center upgrades. They have 2 kitchens there. Remodeled that. Sound system, AV upgrades. Again, this is beneficial for any rentals that we do, or community workshops or town halls that we want to do in there. We got some PD stuff over there, as you can see, outdoor awning and lighting, PD property room remodel. We want to, after the branding is done, we want to replace all the city trash receptacles at all our parks and our civic center. We currently use the plastic residential bins. We want to upgrade that to become the best city ever, I like to say, by having nice trash cans out there. And of course, we're a lot of design projects. So a couple design project is to, again, when we go through grant funding, whether it's at a federal level, a state level, we have shovel-ready projects that's ready to go design-wise. So then if a assembly person or whoever says, hey, you know, I got some money, what do you want to do? We got the project ready to go. So you got some design projects right there. Again, Pine Street design, again, I'm not going over Civic Center, master plan, et cetera. And then the next slide is the pending projects that's carry over from this fiscal year that we're not quite there to complete. Again, electric service wiring, street improvement project, the second phase. We have a community center divider wall project over at the community center. And of course, the Bloomfield Street improvement project that should actually be beginning in a couple of weeks, but we will not finish by the end of June. Okay, I think that's it. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. If not,
So I think the recommendation tonight is to receive and file the preliminary general fund budget for fiscal year 23-24, 24-25, providing any direction to staff. Also recommending adoption of ordinance 2023-4, and then I believe I'd turn it over to the city attorney for a reading.
I take questions first.
I think we should take some questions first.
Yeah. Okay. So my green words say, do I have anybody in the audience that would like to ask a question about all of the delightfulness that was just enumerated on?
Good evening, Council. I live over on Howard Avenue. I just want to say you guys are doing a great job. And I hung around because Shelley's my neighbor, and this police chief's great. He's doing a great job. All you guys are doing a great job, all of you, and I want to thank you for all you do for our city. It's a little city, and it's a wonderful city, and I hope we can hold on to it and keep it going the right way. And God bless all you people, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will come up here. Are there any questions up here?
Not questions. Okay, so I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to fiscal and giving money. So in my opinion, I do not agree with providing an increase of $100,000. I would agree with increasing it at a smaller increment of maybe $25,000. So
Which one is?
that's in regards to 2.60.050A, B.
Oh, contracts approved by City Council?
Yeah, I prefer City Council have more oversight and be able to review it more frequently than waiting to 100,000.
Noted. Any other comments or questions? I guess we'll take comments or questions.
Is that a motion to, no, okay. I mean, I would agree with that.
Sharing information. So
Okay.
any questions or comments? No?
I have some questions. Really quick question on yours. If you want to be a little bit more conservative and not increase it to 100,000, what was the dollar amount that you're comfortable increasing it to?
I'm comfortable increasing it between 75 to 80,000.
Okay, and we're starting it.
Correct, and that's in regards to purchasing authority 2.60.050 for A and B.
Okay. Just a quick question. What's your reasoning behind 80,000 versus 100,000?
Like I said, I prefer more oversight, and I'm more conservative when it comes to fiscal. I mean, that's double the amount that it was amended in 2019 for 50,000. So I just believe that we're doubling it. Why don't we just do it a little bit more conservatively, and we do 80.
Do you know what our average contracts are? Because basically, if we don't do it to 100,000, it's going to delay everything we do by a month, at least.
Well, if we require emergency services, such as what happened with the repair of the community center, which I was also going to discuss so that we can receive an update on that, then I don't see what the issue would be.
Okay. I'm trying to get your justification about, do you know how much a normal contract is for and what the difference is holding it at 80,000 versus 100,000? If a contract's going to be $82,000, it's going to delay us by at least a month. Or do we just trust the city manager that we hired, knowing that we have some oversight with them already? I'm not sure if slowing down the business of the city for $10,000 or $20,000 is necessary.
I appreciate your opinion.
I have some questions. So we just, set up some ad hoc committees, and the one that I'm going to be serving on is rebranding. And I didn't see any budget items for the citywide rebranding effort, and I was wondering what our budget is, when it comes to updating letterhead or changing our logo on, everything throughout the city, what our budget is for that.
That will be an item that will come back to the city council for consideration, and with the budget appropriation that goes with it.
So it's not in the budget right now?
No, and that was by design to ensure that we could take into account the ad hoc committee's preferences, because when we go down the road of branding, there's obviously there's the Cadillac version, there's the Honda version, the Toyota version. And so obviously those all have different costs associated with them. And we wanted to make sure that there was a very good understanding of what the scope of what exactly the ad hoc committee and staff wanted to accomplish with the branding.
Okay, thank you. There's reference to a travel policy, and I was wondering what our definition of travel is.
So, and I've been directed to actually create a policy and to put it all in black and white as to terms of policy, in terms of travel. From a starting point, I'm using essentially 3 or 4 different cities' travel policies, and essentially we'll go in and look at them and see what exactly we can push together. Travel, at least in my mind at this moment, is going to be anything that requires the city to expend money for council members to go to. I will say conferences is probably the most one where travel is involved. So flights, hotel rooms, those kind of things. Things that are local, I think fall into a different category, because there's a lot of local training, obviously, which doesn't require hotel stays and such. So I see it kind of leaning in that direction. But again, once we get into it and have an opportunity to bring it back to you, I think we'll have a better idea of how all-encompassing it will be.
Thank you. So at this moment, is it safe to say that we don't have a travel policy? So we're voting on something regarding a travel policy that we don't have?
We're voting to create one, yes.
Wonderful, thank you. Also, what's our definition of employee wellness? I think Mr. Noda mentioned it was going from city council.
So we have started a number of initiatives. When I say we, I mean Chelsea Wilson has started a number of initiatives. And it's all aimed at a couple of different targets. One is employee retention, ensuring that we're meeting employees where they are with regards to their health, their mental health, and those kind of things. So developing programs around those, because currently we do not have a lot. The chief is incredibly well-versed in this subject. It's one of the things that we spoke about during his interview on the law enforcement side, and I'm interested in trying to figure out different ways to incorporate that into just our daily work with our employees. So finding small things that we're able to identify as victories and capitalizing on them, making sure that everyone is looking out for each other at the end of the day, and then making sure that we're also putting some heft behind it when it comes to supporting our employees that might have had some troubles.
Thank you. Another question. So I see in here that we're looking to add a deputy city mayor, a deputy city clerk. And I apologize because I'm referring to the city clerk who's taking the notes, so we could add in the notes that we all love and appreciate our city clerk. My question regarding that is she has a unique role in that our city clerk is also the director of communications.
That is correct.
So if we budget to hire a deputy city clerk, are we then relieving the city clerk of her are we taking off a hat, or does she still have to wear 2 hats?
So this has been a position that has been long planned. It's actually going back to a model that was here prior to my arrival. There has always been a clear number 2 in each department. I don't see this as a taking away, sadly, of any of the city clerk's current duties. It's essentially to assist her in making sure she has time to get to the litany of projects that she and I have discussed in terms of moving the city forward. A lot of those are IT-based and take a lot of time to implement. So the idea behind the addition of the city clerk will hopefully allow for, the deputy city clerk will allow for the some of the more routine tasks to be taken off of her plate so that she can focus on some of the larger strategic things that we would want a director to be thinking about. The things that come to mind off the top of my head is helping with the processing of PRA requests, requests from City Council, also making sure that we are abreast of all the current policies and state laws as they constantly change. And one of the things that we did lose, I think, for, I would say probably a good 10 years here, just purely because of financial constraints that the city was under, was that LaSalle lost its place within the different municipal organizations out there in Orange County and then throughout California. Allowing the city clerk to actually participate in those is important, just from the standpoint of not only being able to make sure that we're abreast of all the changes that are going on, but also to make sure that we're actually involved and had a seat at the table when it comes to discussing what exactly best policy is and best practices. And I would hate to think that we are robbing the world of Wendy's expertise by keeping her chained to her desk. I also would like her to go on a vacation every once in a while.
What's the logic between not hiring someone specific to act as the director of communications, which is a far less a role that requires far less education? So city clerk, right? Lots of education, very very specialized.
Mm-hmm.
Director of communications, not.
Yeah, and I think at the time it was a simple marriage of there was obviously a need, and I think that when we look to hire, we are looking to actually hire a number of different outside consulting firm to help us to put together some of these communication packages. And at the end of the day, it was a cost savings to not hire another body, as opposed to splitting the title and allowing one of our directors to expand their knowledge base a little bit and also get them into another area of focus that they already dabbled in a little bit.
Thank you. Question, in the non-departmental section, it says $34,000 in credit card processing fees. Where are we processing credit cards?
I'm going to have to ask the director of finance to take that one.
This is the charges that the city absorbs for taking credit card payments. This is one of the things that I'm going to be proposing that we change when we do our cost recovery study.
What rate are we paying? Like 1.5%, 2.5%? What's
Depends
our
on
fee?
the card. Depends on the card that we're taking.
Ballpark.
Yeah, roughly what you mentioned. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
In other cost considerations, referring to the pension debt, and this one kind of puts me on my ear a lot. So I see that we have quite a surplus, and I'm curious, why not use in our surplus funding? Why not use more of our funding to pay down particularly the unfunded pension liability, not the current, not the future pension liabilities, but the unfunded pension liabilities? Why not put more money into that and pay it down much quicker in a fund like a trust? We could hold it in trust or something where it's designated for pensions.
And that's an excellent question, and it's actually one of the things that we will be talking about during the council's goal setting sessions. Is now that we have established a surplus that allows for these kind of conversations, the first one is really identifying all of the CIP projects that are out there that are going to need rapid capital improvement, or more aptly capital funding, and how exactly we use that, and then also taking a stab at what exactly can we do to speed up that pay down plan.
What would you say is more of a priority for the city, the capital projects or paying down unfunded pension liabilities in addition to current and future pension liabilities?
I would say they were both equally important. The one thing that was promised with regards to Measure Y was that we would go out and we would maintain police services, and that we would also pay attention to the structure of the city and how exactly we are funding capital improvement projects. And I'll remind you that the city had gotten into a place for about 15 years or so where we were only spending about $300,000 on capital improvements. The outcome of what you see today is because of that investment. And again, at the time, those were the only investments that the city council could make. We are now digging ourselves out of that hole. And so until we get to a place where we can reasonably look around and say we have accomplished getting ourselves to a place where we've addressed the safety issues that potentially cause liability for the city, we have addressed some of the park issues and making sure that the residents have safe places to go. I would say that we need to continue that with that balance of paying down the pension plan. As I say, we'll be 8 years ahead of schedule, and also making that investment that was part of the fiscal sustainability pledge.
Why haven't we designated the funds for the pension at this time?
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand your question.
The way that I read things, the way that we're paying down the pension debt is they're not designated. The dollars aren't designated. So we might be able to spend it on here, spend it on something. There's a little bit of a discretion versus holding it in trust where it's designated just to pension, just to paying down the pension debt. I'm just curious why we haven't done that, why we haven't done that yet.
Well, we do designate funds each year to pay down our pension liability, our ongoing pension liability, and we make those payments instead of making them over the course of a year. We make them all up front, which saves us. I'm sorry, Craig. I know you have a number. Is it?
Oh, we pay it in one lump sum. Is that what you're referring to?
Right.
Right. It's probably approximately 3%. It's about $60,000 we save by paying one lump sum versus over 12 months.
Exactly. So having that money available and liquid up front allows us to do that, as opposed to potentially having to pay that extra fee. And then with regards to allocating money to go outside of the general fund, that again will be a topic for the council's discussion and goal setting, definitely.
Thank you. And one last question. A couple of months ago, we voted to approve up to $500,000 to, tear off the roof of the rec center and put a nice new roof back on there.
Yes.
And when in the budget, I'm looking for a line item for $500,000 since our fiscal year is coming up, and I'm assuming we're not going to get a new roof on by June 30.
Well, I'm hopeful. That being said, and I'll let the Director of Development Services correct me when I go off script, but I know that our goal is to get it done during the summer. We are very, very aware of what exactly a project like that will do to the operations within the senior center and with the classes. And so we're trying to figure out a way to minimize that impact as much as we can. We're in talks right now with the youth center about, being able to use their space during the summer months. And so there's a delicate dance going back and forth with regards to what exactly the timeline is. We are having trouble finding contractors that are able to do that specific type of work. So there isn't a line item in this CIP budget because it's money that you have already appropriated as council. That being said, if by the time we get to June and I come back for this budget item and we have yet to actually select a contractor, it will be added to the CIP list.
For 23-24.
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I've seen this before.
Okay. All righty, and then just to, I don't know if it can be assuaged at all, but the difference between the 80 and the 100, can you give us an example of maybe a project or two where you've come into an issue where you're like, okay, this is something emphatically that...
Of course. Actually, I'm going to ask Director Noda simply because he's the one that has to deal with this headache on a daily basis and then gets mad at me when I can't sign something, so...
Specifically between 80 and 100 grand, or I could give you a general overview. I have to kind of think a little bit about specific, but let me see if I could think of one. I just want to remind council that we have to distinguish projects between a public, what we consider a public work project, and a regular non-public work project. Okay. According to the city charter, anything above $10,000, we have to go to official RFP. So what that means here is if I'm coming in here and we're doing a street repair, right? Like right now we're looking at what we consider a hot patch repair. So currently our Public Works Division fixes pothole with what we call a cold patch. It's a temporary fix, right? And so right now we're looking for a vendor. We don't have the capability of doing that in-house for a hot patch repair. It's temporary, but it's much more sturdier than the cold patch repair. And so right now it's going to be over 10,000. So most likely we have to go to RFP for that. All right. But in terms of like, for example, or the design element, okay? If we wanted to come in here and do a design of a, I mentioned it earlier, the median islands, right? We could go in there and, what do we put here projected for the median islands? It is, oh no, that's 175, so let's do another one. Right here, council chamber remodel design, right? We have a goal here of moving the council chamber to another building and converting this building to a office setting. The design is $100,000. That's what our quotes are generating, okay? And so within the city manager's authority, we go out there, we get 3 informal quotes. We can have that project started within weeks. If we go through the official RFP, it will be about 4 to 5 months before we could start that project. So we're talking about weeks, 4 to 6 weeks versus 4 to 5 months on getting shovel-ready project just in case we go through grant funding.
With price escalation, correct?
That's correct. And as we've gone out there, the mayor talked about Senator Steele's program, which is the ATP plan, which is over $875 or around $700,000. That was a ready-made project that we were able to go in there, and I can type up it took me a little time, but it was about a 20-page, packet that we had to put together. If we had to go through a design and go through the RFP process, we would not be able to get that project into the senator's lap, so then we can get possibly appropriated for that. So again, it just cuts down the timeline, especially on design aspects of it.
And I'll say too, just in terms of our operations as a city, we run fairly lean just in terms of the amount of staff that we have here. And so we really do have a hybrid model in the way that we approach operations. And, operational decisions are usually made in the span of days as opposed to 4 to 5 months of an RFP process. And so, again, the request is not because I'm interested in going out and spending $100,000 on every project that comes across our desk. It's really just an expedient to get ourselves to an operational level where we're not wasting time before we start projects. And again, I can understand and appreciate the concern. That being said, all of the expenditures that are made by the city, and particularly by myself, all become before the council as part of the warrant register. And again, notification to the city council with regards to large ticket items. That is something that I would do just out of a matter of course, simply because I would want you guys to be aware of it. So anyway, again, the reason for the request is expediency at the end of the day.
Okay. You said you have nothing. All right, is our discussion complete? Then we will do,
I'll move the items as recommended.
okay, I get a second? Okay, I'll second it then. And then, Michael, you read the ordinance for us, right?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Before the City Council for consideration this evening is ordinance number 2023-04, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Los Alamitos, California, amending and restating Chapter 2.60 Purchasing System of the Los Alamitos Municipal Code.
Okay, and now it's a roll call?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No. No. So city manager, what's the time thing? Because I know we legally have to pass a budget by a certain time frame. And is our next council meeting too late?
No, I think that we'll have time prior to that in order to complete what we need to in order to make the budget work. The question will be when exactly any ordinances that are attached to it go into effect. And I will need to speak with the city attorney and the city clerk just and see if there's any impacts that we might need to mitigate. At the moment, I don't see any, but given that we have a month, we should be fine.
But legally, unlike the federal government, legally, we have to have a budget passed by June 30th.
This is correct. And so my goal is to bring the budget back in a final form for the City Council's consideration at your June meeting. That will include all of the items that have been requested thus far by the Budget Standing Committee. And obviously, I will have a opportunity to have a one-on-one meeting with Mayor Pro Tem DeFolda. And I would also welcome, obviously, any council member that is interested in having those meetings to join myself and Craig and crack open a book and really work our way through this thing.
I'd like to, in light of what's been going on with our annual comprehensive financial report and the going back and forth with that, I'd love to meet with our finance department and really take a better look at, a deeper look at this budget in light of what's been going on with that.
And that is something that I have offered to the entire council.
Thank you.
Okay. Am I 12 now? Glorious. All right, we will move on to council announcements. At this time, council members may also report on items not specifically described on the agenda that are of interest to the community, provided no action or discussion is taken except to provide staff direction to report back or to place the item on a future agenda. We will start with you, Councilmember Hibbard.
Thank you. Nothing to report tonight.
All right, and I will go to you, Councilmember Murphy.
I just want to say that I attended a few events, not as much as I did the previous month. I went to the Support Safe Communities with Assemblyman Trita as he partnered with local enforcement agencies, and our good old chief was there, throughout the OC to support police canines and safe communities. I also attended the Trauma Intervention Program, TIP. It was a Heroes with Heart Awards dinner and fundraiser co-chaired by Sheriff Don Barnes of the OC Sheriff's Department, as well as Chief Michael Kent of Irvine Police Department. If anyone doesn't have any information regarding the TIP program, it's a group of specially trained volunteers who provide emotional support and practical resources to victims of traumatic events and their families in the immediate aftermath of a tragedy. They're truly extraordinary individuals. I cried quite a bit while I was there, just hearing some of the stories that they shared from the families. And it was just truly inspirational about what they do 24 hours a day and how they are available to each of these families during these events. So, yeah, if you don't know, please read about it and just learn as much as you can. If you can go ahead and donate to the program, please do. I have, because it's just truly extraordinary what they do. And that is it.
Okay.
All right. OCFA, as part of the Budget and Finance Committee, last week we met and we approved our 23-24 budget. Very similar to ours, just adding a few more zeros and commas. Their approved budget is $824 million. Just want to break that down a little bit. That is to fund 1,100 firefighters, 300 support staff at 78 fire stations. To break that $824 million down, some of the highlights is $575 million for general fund, which includes salaries, operational expenses, $36 million for CIP projects, $4 million for fire stations and facilities, $20 million for fire apparatus, $176 million for workers' comp self-insured. And if you don't know anything about firefighters, our chief here walks with a limp because he's been a firefighter for a lot of years, and there's a lot of orthopedic stuff, and there's just a lot of workman's comp that goes along with the job. And then they're spending just $6 million for IT this next year. So yeah, it is quite a different, where they say $100,000, that's immaterial, just blows my mind. The good thing is we had set a policy a few years back where when we had a surplus, 50% went towards CIP projects, 50% went towards paying off the unfunded liability. Where we've done similar here. Last year, when Mark Chirka was here, we came up with a plan to pay off in the 12 years, and that is using that surplus money in order to do that. So we would be one of the few cities that would be paid off before the 20 to 30 year date. The revenue increases, they're expecting fire authorities primarily funded by property taxes. Property taxes are looking to increase next year by $9.5 million. State reimbursements, so whenever we send firefighters up north to Texas, wherever, they get paid good money because they're there 24/7. They don't get to go home, but we get reimbursed by the county that's requested it, whether it be FEMA, CAL FIRE, or any of the counties up north. They're expecting that increase to be $1.8 million, which concerns me because that means we're going to have a pretty wild fire season this next year. The expense increases mainly are salaries. We're increasing salaries by $14.3 million. And that's just because we just finished our 3 union negotiations, and that's playing into that. It also increased benefits by $1.6 million and supplies and equipment by $7.5 million. Good news is, because of their policy about how they're paying off our unfunded liability, hopefully we're going to mirror that here, but they are 93% paid off. By their snowball plan is what they call it. They have saved $46.8 million in interest. So if we can just be a little bit of that in 12 years, that would be outstanding. So that was it on the CFA. Got to attend some fun stuff. Budget and Finance Committee, not fun, but yeah, it was. It was all right. You just saw what we were coming with. We're coming up with different policies that just make the city seem to streamline. One of our biggest drawbacks that we see, especially with, authorizations for spending and stuff, we're one of the few cities that only meet once a month. Most cities meet twice a month. We stopped that 10 years ago. So it does delay some of the operations, so we try to put processes into place where we can still continue to do business and not have to wait for a meeting. Let's see, I went to the senior prom. It wasn't the senior prom at the high school, it was more fun. It was the senior prom at the community center. Those little old ladies walked in and went straight to the dance floor. And they danced all night long. It was really a lot of fun. They were just in their prime. It was a disco night, and man, these people took that seriously. So that was really a lot of fun. I think we had, 100 people? Yeah, so that was really a lot of fun. I was glad I was able to participate in that. And then that night I went to the We Care fundraiser over at the Navy Golf Course. We Care is a small but mighty nonprofit that we have here in the city. They help our local community with things to make sure that they don't go homeless. If they need help with deposits for apartments, if they need help with the utility bill, they will give them bus passes so they can travel around and things like that. They have a food pantry. And like I say, it's a small nonprofit, but man, they really do a lot of good stuff. And then we also had our La Salle Foundation meeting. We're continuing to do the Parklet series for the summer. We are the adult beverage provider, and the adults are very, very happy with us. And so we're looking at some other fundraising things. I know the fireworks, the 2 stands we're going to be having. That'll be a nice fundraiser for us and some of the other nonprofits as well. It's all about getting Elvis quickly. So as soon as you get that car, let me know, because we got a dog to go get. So, and that's pretty much about it.
All right, so the more fun things that I've been doing since April were, we rejoined ACCOC as a city back in April. They came out and gave a delightful interview, so I think they've got 11 more cities to collect across Orange County, and they will have all of us Orange County cities, which is it's really impactful because once you get that group together, then we become a strategic voice, because LA's bigger, Riverside's different, San Bernardino's got their own thing. Orange County has to have our delightful voices heard. So I was out in DC with them, and one of the greatest takeaways was meeting with, it wasn't even my representative, but Representative Levin, and they were talking about their appropriations, and they had this number, and it was specific to a police department, and it was like $38 million. And I stopped his meeting and was like, hey, how do I get something like that? So he had his chief of staff send me all the information. So that positioned us so that now we know who to go and ask, when to go and ask. We will no longer be behind the 8 ball when these appropriations are supposed to go out, so that our names will be in line with, like Congresswoman Steele, she was able to reach out to us. We had a Shovel Ready project. We are now going to be in queue, in line when it's time, because we've been missing the boat. No mas. So the next thing was a federal grant seminar that Congresswoman Steele's office also hosted, and that was outstanding because the person that was hosting it was full of so much information. They shared all of their cliff notes with us, and that was another level of how do we go and ask for these appropriations? How do we go and find the grants? How do we go and find this money? And I've been getting as many free samples from them as possible so that Emmeline can take the information and just build on it. They let me plant a tree for Arbor Day. If you go out to Little Cottonwood Park, you'll see my tree. It was my tree. I don't care if anybody else threw dirt in it. It's my tree. I went to an award reception for Senator Janet Wynn. I went to the youth centers, A Night Among the Stars, and after spending days in Sacramento and days in DC, it gets really discouraging when you look at how heavy politics play into the decisions that get made on a day-to-day basis. And the hope that was offered by those young people, I had a genuine smile on my face before I left. They were like, "Can you speak?" Yes. Yes, y'all have inspired me. I've got great things to say to these young people. I attended SCAG's regional conference, where as a delegate, I affirmatively voted to approve the minutes from last year's conference, which were provided to me. Ron Bates was there, so I know, and he approved them, so I was like, okay, we're good. We approved their budget for 2023-2024 and approved the election of Art Brown. He's the mayor out in Buena Park for the board president position for 23-24. And then went over to Epson's official ribbon cutting, and they also invited and allowed me to share a few thoughts with them, and it was really spectacular, the facility that they have, and they've made some wonderful offers to us, and they're really looking to collaborate with our community, so I'm super excited about that. I went to the board installation for ACCOC for their new board of directors for 2023-2024. I attended the OC Tax Luncheon, where the mayors from Irvine, Santa Ana, and Anaheim were part of a panel, and that was outstanding because those are some big cities, and their mayors are women. So they're all up there sharing, like, from their perspective, what are their goals, what are their points, what are their bullets, what are they looking to do, and I believe all of them are elected. They're all elected to their office, so it was just fascinating hearing what they're going to do for each of their cities. And then a side note that I want to share is SCAG sent out a RENA survey, and we're going to put this on our socials, and we're going to put this on our website, because starting today through June 30th, they're doing a reform outreach. There will be a link on our website. They will have 2 virtual meetings, and it's basically to look at how they decide the RENA numbers. So we can write letters, we can make calls, we can go to these virtual meetings. And then the biggest, brightest point for all of this is all the information will go to the CEHD committee and then the regional conference committee. And you guys want to know who is the recent unanimously appointed chair to that CEHD committee? Your mayor. So when all of this information gets compiled, I will be in a room, in a chair, with people able to make a decision on how those numbers should get delegated next time. So I need everybody to join me, and we're gonna push this out, because starting today, we got the other one, we're gonna push it. I know I'm not gonna overdo Ron's. Push it out, because I want all the input that we can get, because this is what they're listening to. Usually they give themselves a break before they ask for more information with these numbers, but we have been causing such a little undercurrent of uproar that they're like, okay, what's your input? Thought you'd never ask. So that's all that I've got. I thank you so much for indulging me, and I think that I got an announcement. The June meeting will be held on a Tuesday, June 20th, due to a holiday that is on June 19th, that Monday. Okay? And I can adjourn.
There you go.
What do you think?